What up? What up? I had to make sure y'all was on. Last time y'all saw us, we didn't take a trade. Guess what happened? We still haven't taken a trade, but we have some opportunities. We might be catching a trade tonight on USD CAD, and it's been a hot minute. I ain't gonna lie, it's been a hot minute. We haven't taken a trade, but I'm happy because now we get to possibly take a trade, Lord willing. So what I'm about to do is I'm going to hop over to the setup, break down this chart for y'all so y'all can see what I see and you know what I know why I want to enter. So let's get into the chart so I can do that, and then we'll talk about all the extra stuff after. Give me a second. All right, y'all boys. So USD CAD is the pair I'm looking at. Starting off, clear as day, we can see that we're bearish, right? We recently I don't want this to be red. So we can see off rip, price is bearish. We recently just broke through these lower lows, continuing this bearish trend. We have our lower high, lower low, right? So I can mark off the daily time frame as being bearish. That is not how you spell bearish, right? So the daily time frame we see is bearish. 4-hour time frame, same thing. I see that the 4-hour time frame is bearish as well. I have that lower high being here, and I have my lower low being here. I'll mark it off too so y'all can see. So boom, we have now the 4-hour time frame that is bearish. So off rip, what can I see? I see that I have my daily and my 4-hour time frame that is bearish. This is good because if I go towards the Discord, this is why we have the Discord available in the description below. I have this little game plan that when the daily and the 4-hour are in sync, we're trading with the trend in the market, which now we can go to identify our area of interest. We know what time frames we're going to be using to capitalize on this position, so on and so forth, right? So now knowing that I'm in the flow of the market, I got the daily, I got my 4-hour in sync with each other. How do I find that area of interest? Well, since the daily and the 4-hour are in sync, we simply just use the 4-hour time frame for our area of interest. How do I find my area of interest? Well, you simply just wait for the last break of structure. For example, say if price is moving like this, right? Price has formed a roof over our head and price has formed a floor. This roof is showing us price gets here, we hit our head, we bounce. We bounce off the floor, we go to the roof. We bounce off the roof, we go to the floor. Bounce, 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 right? So we have our ceiling and we have our floor. The moment price gives us a break past our ceiling, I would expect price to pull back down towards this recent ceiling, now treat it as my floor, and then have that continuation. Why? Because say if we're trying to break through a roof, and if we break through, we're going to come back down to treat this roof as our support to then continue in the upwards direction. And that's exactly how you will find your area of interest. You simply wait for price to either break through your roof. Once you have that, you then look for price to come back towards this area to then treat it as your support. Since we're above this area, when we're below, we treat it as our roof. When we are above, I want to see it treated as support. Continue. So now I know that my daily and my 4-hour time frame are in sync, heading towards the downside. And on the daily time frame, we see that the floor has gotten broken through here, which also is in sync with the 4-hour time frame's floor as well, as you can see right here. Since I know that both time frames are in sync and I'm simply just using my 4-hour time frame to find that area of interest, the last break of structure happened around here, being my floor. This is why I have this box in this area. So now price gave me that retest of my floor, treating it as my resistance. We're simply waiting for price to get back below. But as price on the 4-hour performed the break and retest of this structure, that allowed the daily time frame to do the exact same thing. We see the daily perform the break. We see the daily perform the retest of its own structure, but most importantly, it allowed us to pull back into this 4-hour zone. Now, what I'm waiting on is simply for this 15-minute time frame to go back bearish, which we're doing now. If you don't know, the lower time frame has to go from this bearish to bullish trend to allow these higher time frames to perform the break and retest. We know that there's structure within structure in the market. How do we know that? Well, simply, if I mark off this high of this daily candle and I mark off this low of this daily candle, look how much structure we have inside of this one candle. We have the 4-hour structure, we have 1-hour structure, 30-minute structure, 15-minute structure, and 5-minute structure. But look, most importantly, what took place. Price went from bullish to bearish to back bullish to back bearish on the 5-minute. On the 1 hour, price just continued bullish. Price never broke bearish. The 4-hour, same thing. Price didn't even form any type of structure. Price is just bullish candles. But do we see how all these time frames have different structure just based off of each candlestick and representing a different time? The 5-minute, we're going to have more structure. Why? Because every single candlestick we see represents 5 minutes. So every 5 minute that goes by, we have structure being formed. And 5 minutes and 4 hours, y'all get it. So now what I will be waiting on is this 15-minute time frame to go from bullish to now back bearish, which we're doing right now, but I want to be in time session, so I'm gonna wait until later tonight. Once price can get back bearish, most importantly back underneath my daily structure and back underneath this 4-hour structure, I will look for a retest and then the next continuation. Why? Because once I see this continuation breakout, it's showing me that we're having the selling pressure from this area of interest to, if I zoom out, go back towards the 1 hour, we see this area treated as floor when we're above, treated as our ceiling when we're below. Right now, we are above, treating it as the floor. I'm simply just waiting for price to break below my floor, come back, treat it as my ceiling, and then have the next break of my floor. And as we have that break of my floor, it's showing me that momentum I want to see. I have my stops above my ceiling, and then my target, since I'm using my 4-hour area of interest as my entry zone, I'm using the 4-hour lows as my take profit. So I'm looking for something like this. This is an amazing setup, and we're going to see if this setup can play out. This is exactly what I want to see in the market. All right, I ain't gonna lie, bro, we're looking good. Y'all saw what I saw. Everything lines up to the T. We got all our time frames in sync. We have the retest of our area of interest. We have our floor got broken through. I want to see the floor get treated as my ceiling. And if I can have the rejection followed up with that break of structure, bro, we are money. And I will show y'all what I enter on every single time. I can say all these things, enter the trade, and it's wrong. So be it. I just had an off day. But this is the plan. This is what I execute on, and this is what I wanted to see. So I'm going to be waiting for pre-London session come around. We get our entry. We're going to execute. I'm going to cut y'all on, show you the execution, I'm not going to show you too much. Leave it for another day. And let's see if we can make some moolah this week. All right, that's it. I don't got nothing else to say to y'all because it ain't really nothing much to talk about. I'm going to cut y'all back on. Something happens, like I just said. We'll go from there. See y'all boys in a minute. All right, y'all. So we got updates. No, we're not energetic. This is serious. I'm about to take y'all to the computer so y'all can see what's going on. I'm looking at it, but y'all, I gotta, just jump into the thing. Hold on. All right, so we're getting that entry because we can see the 30-minute bearish engulfing is taking place, engulfing past these previous bullish candles, and then also presenting us with a breaker structure on the 15-minute time frame. The only downside, what I don't like, is that if I find my entry around here, I already have my stop loss set up, and then our take profit, this is where it's throwing me off, right? Because say we refresh, y'all know I'm using a 4-hour zone for our entry zone, but I'm using my 4-hour lows for my take profit. This is what that trade will look like, and what I don't like, and it's really looking odd, is how my stop loss looks. Like, this looks like too tight of a stop loss to where price can do something like this, have that candlestick open. As price forms this candlestick open, we then form that retracement to then go back towards the downside. But as we form that push towards the upside, this leaves us with this wick, like so. Price leaves us with the wick. We get wicked out of this trade, and then price then has that continuation towards the downside just based off of how tight this stop loss is. Truth be told, I don't know if I want to enter. I want to enter, but I feel like that's just me being greedy because we haven't taken a trade. And if I'm being honest, does the trade make sense right now? No, and I don't want to force that setup. Even though, bro, I want to take a trade so bad. I'm not gonna lie, but this setup I don't want to force because it doesn't look like it's ready. If we go towards previous trade, as in over here, y'all can see it's crazy. Same trades, well, same pair. So USD CAD, right? We see this opportunity that's presented itself over here. The same opportunity happened previously here, where we got a better risk reward. Well, not a better risk reward, but look at that entry. Look at our stop loss. How we have enough breathing room for price to fluctuate in drawdown before it drops. We have enough breathing room on this position where we won for 3.24, and then the same thing around here, enough fluctuation to where if price does give us that pullback, plays around, we can then see that drop. Because even if we just go into replay mode, because I just want to show y'all the entry. So 30-minute time frame, y'all see where that entry came. We had this bearish engulfing, which gave us the break past these 15-minute lows. And as we formed that, we were able to win this execution, again, giving us enough breathing room. And then if we go towards this trade up here, same exact thing, where we can see the 30-minute bearish variation. We had the one bearish candle, second bearish candle, engulfing past that previous bullish candle, giving us enough fluctuation to where once we entered this trade, we have push, then price came into drawdown. We didn't hit our stop loss, but it retested this zone on the lower time frames, aka retesting this floor / resistance, had the rejection, and then price fell. But right now we're not having that, because say if we do enter, price is not giving me enough breathing room. This does not give me any breathing room whatsoever. So if price does give me this closure and we find an entry, price can easily have something like this where it wicks us out and then have that fall towards the downside. But based off of, you know, what price is doing right now, it will leave something like this, and it just doesn't look good. I don't want to take this trade. I'm not going to take this trade, bro. I got to respect my rules. The entry is money. Oh, my glasses. Look how stressed I'm out. I'm knocking my dang on glasses off, bro. Bro, the entry is money. Like, it's money. It's just, I don't believe the trade itself makes sense. I'm not getting enough breathing room. If we can have a further push, I think that's what it is. Since this entry is so close to the stop loss and it's not giving me enough breathing room, this is all like, it's bringing me back a 1 to 5. In reality, I'm not getting a 1 to 5 off rip. If I'm right about my trade, it hits my 1 to 2, 1 to 3. Okay, I can hit a 1 to 5 after the extended push, but off rip, if I'm already getting a 1 to 5 risk reward, this is showing me my stop loss is too close, and I don't like that. That's just a red flag to me. But say if this candle in the next 4 minutes just has some type of dramatic drop down here, oh yes, I'm entering this trade. Now I have enough breathing room, my stop loss. The entry makes sense because it gives us enough breathing room. And yeah, we still get a positive risk reward looking at a 1 to 2.8. So I just got to be, because if it plays out, I'm going to be pissed. But it just doesn't make sense. The trade doesn't make sense. The stop loss is too close, bro. And I'm not about to, got to pray about it. Alright, prayed about it. I'm not entering. If I enter, I'm acting out of greed only because I didn't catch a trade. And if I'm telling y'all this is something that I would avoid, I'm gonna avoid it. But if price gives me that push in the last 2 minutes, okay, we can find an entry around here, which makes sense now. But besides that, me entering that close with that tight of a stop loss, it just doesn't make sense. That whole trade doesn't make sense. I have to see this push happen. And I like how we're having this push now. So we're about to see. Because, bro, look how clean this is. Daily break and retest. Having a retest of that zone. We're below this floor. Treated as resistance as well. 4 hours, same thing. Price is showing us. I think another thing that's making me, you know, hesitant is just this little area. For those of you who know, y'all know, I'm looking at this. I don't like this choppiness. Even though it's not showing me like any type of pullback, it's still choppy market. I don't like to trade choppy market. Y'all can see by our previous trades. When price performed the breakout, we didn't have choppy market. Yes, the retest, it can have choppiness, but I'm not really worried about the pullback. I'm more worried about that break. Same thing over here. We had the break. We didn't have any choppiness. So I'm just going off of previous data. I'm going off of the data that we were able to, you know, Yeah, bro, I prayed, bro. I prayed about it. So I can't just act out of greed, bro. I cannot act out of greed. All right, I'm not gonna take it. All right. All right, y'all. So like I just saw, I went through a lot of emotions. I prayed about it, and he gave me that answer because it's two questions he asked. If I take the trade, am I taking it because it meets those rules and the plan looks good? Or am I taking the trade based off of greed and me not being able to make some money from the market and just really being eager to make some money? And I answered it truthfully. It'll be greed. I'm ready to make some money from the market. I'm ready to just click that button because it's been a while since we have. Yeah, I'm not going against those rules. The setup just doesn't make sense to me. The stop loss is way too tight. The risk to reward is way too huge. I know that sounds crazy, but based off of experience of, executing trades like this, the setup itself just doesn't make sense. If it pushes, I will be a little upset. I'm just going to be honest with you. But if it doesn't, I'll be happy because, again, trusting in the plan. So we're going to see how this plays out tomorrow morning. We'll wake up, give you some updates over the charts, well, on this pair, and go from there. But yeah, like I said, bro, a lot of emotions, and I'm just being true to myself. It is what it is. I ain't even going to lie. I can't allow myself to take a trade like this because I know what it's going to do to me mentally, and I know it's going to push me to go away from my plan overall. And I'm not going away from my plan, and I'm preaching to y'all, stick to the plan, stick to the plan, stick to the plan. If something doesn't make sense, if something doesn't align, you don't need to execute, and right now I don't need to execute. I showed y'all the example of previous trades we've taken where the market looks just cleaner overall, risk reward, the entry, everything made sense. Right now it doesn't. So I'm walking away, and I'm going to update y'all in the morning. All right, y'all. So nothing happened. Exactly what I said, to be honest, is what took place. Price went directly towards that stop loss. And right now it's just playing in a drawdown area, which is good because I'm not in it. But I'm about to do this recording so I can show y'all the ideal setup where we possibly might execute. So hold on. All right. So like you all know, the ideal position, well, it wasn't the ideal position because we didn't enter. This position it doesn't make sense. This position is horrible. We're playing around and drawdown. Price is never pushed into profit. If anything, we are just dancing in our drawdown area, and that's not something I like, right? This position is a no-go, so this is where I will put an X. And like I explained last night, the reason why it's a no-go, stop loss is way too tight, entry doesn't make sense, and yeah, the overall just structure as of last night just doesn't make sense. But this morning, this is where I'm excited and I'm a little jumpy towards this execution based off of the proper alignment price is showing me. So we know that price is still maintaining in this structure, right? We talked about this area about last night. This is another reason why we did not take this trade, just due to how it's not the cleanest structure, but it's still clean structure. We don't have any hiccups in the market, but based off of this first initial entry, this is what my next judgment came down to was, okay, if I do take this ugly setup as far as stop loss entry wise, am I going to be thinking about this as far as this? Yes. Why? Because this is already too tight. Stop loss is already too tight. My risk reward is already humongous. And again, this is just based off of my experience and my strategy. When my take profit is already sitting at a 1 to 5 at my take profit zone, meaning that when I first execute my position, the first TP level is sitting at a 1 to 5. This trade does not look good. It never goes in my favor, and I don't need to enter this trade based off of my experience. So now what I'm seeing is, look at this. We take the drawings away. We still see price treating this floor as resistance, which is good. And then on top of that, if we go towards the daily time frame, we still see price. If I take this away again, we still see price again playing around at this floor slash resistance. We're still bearish overall on the daily, still bearish overall on the 4 hour until we break these lower highs, which means this setup is still valid. On the 15-minute time frame, looking at the 15-minute time frame now, yes, we see price in drawdown. Yes, we avoided an L because this is just ugly. Price can easily have this push and then have this drop, which I am expecting. But as far as the 15-minute time frame, we see how the 15-minute did go bearish, now went back bullish, and now we're back bearish. And if you can't not see this, if we mark off our higher low being here, we see what? we see that price performed the, let me lock this so it can stop popping up. We see price perform that break of structure around there. When price had this push, we see the break of these lows, right? So now we can mark this off as our new lower low, looking something like this. And how do you find that lower high? Well, we just go back toward that last high point that gave us the break, which will be around here, looking something like this, right? So now we see price is in a bearish trend on the 15-minute time frame, which is good. If price does go break these highs, okay, that's fine. We'll then be transitioned to bullish, having our new higher high and then this higher low. We will simply just wait for the break of these lows. But say if price does not go and push higher, but instead price wants to give us a drop right here, this is amazing, because based off of what price is showing us, I want to see this 15-minute perform the break of these lows, which will leave me with this 30-minute bearish engulfing. I will then just wait for this 30-minute candlestick to form something like this. Now look at our entry point. We will have that bearish engulfing. We then put our stop loss. We start at the top of this bullish candle. You see us at 39.6. I simply add 10 pips, putting us at 49.6. And look how cleaner this setup is. Stop loss is not too tight. We have enough breathing room. I have my take profit at the same area. Now getting back a 1 to 3. This is still a good risk reward, meaning that this trade is still a good trade. We just have to wait for that entry signal. We can't rush it, right? And if we can get something like this, everything makes sense. This trade I'm executing, and then we're going to just sit and wait to see how the trade plays out. So this is what I'm executing. This is what I'm waiting on. This is what I want to see. Now, this is the plan. If we see this, we execute the plan, because everything is meeting our rules at this point, and we just simply let the trade ride. So let's see what happens. I'm going to set my alarm up to see if we can get some type of signal. And if we do get that signal, y'all already know, we capitalizing. I'm telling you, we're capitalizing. This is my plan. This is the plan I want to see. And once we execute, I'm going to show y'all. And then, like always, y'all get the aftermath of the execution. So, y'all stay tuned for that. All right, y'all. So, I'm on the front camera, too. So, it might be a little weird. My head's a little chopped. I didn't put my do-rag on last night. It was all over the place. But, y'all just saw the breakdown. How USD CAD is now aligning with the overall plan. The first position, I don't care. I would never enter a position like that. Just, again, based off of that experience. Second position is what we look for. We still have the daily, still have the 4-hour in sync. We don't have a breaker structure, meaning that this trade is still valid. Now we're just simply waiting for that 15-minute time frame, which will leave us with our entry signal on the 30-minute time frame, and we simply capitalize. This is my plan. This is what I like to see in the market, and I love how the market is developing right now. If we can get that opportunity this morning, great, but if not, I'm simply going to wait until later in the day, later in the week, see what happens. Yeah, we don't got no energy. Again, this is mellow. This is how we vibe, twin. Just vibe. We're going to go from here. Hey, I ain't going to lie. One thing that I'm noticing, and I love it because the Lord has allowed me to see this, and he's also working on this with me. My patience, right? It's scripture. It's like, don't be quick with anger, but with patience, you got to be like just working on my patience. But I'm noticing now, like as the videos and stuff are getting more and more out there, we're getting more and more views, we have a lot more negative comments. But you have to think the negative comments are not coming from anybody that's, in a sense, doing better than what I'm doing. It's only coming from those who are possibly struggling, possibly, looking to just bring somebody down. They just want to throw out negative comments. And it is what it is. I can't control that, but I can control how I respond. So it's either I go back, I respond to them like what they want me to do, or I just show them that grace, just like the Lord showed us that grace. That's what we got to do. So we're going to see what happens, and I'm going to update y'all. All right, so you obviously can see right here where we entered the trade, we put in our stop loss, everything is now set. Now we just simply allow the trade to run. I'm gonna show y'all what the entry is looking like. What we just talked about is exactly what just happened. So let me just show you. 15-minute breaker structure, which was followed up by the 30-minute candlestick entry. Now we just wait. We're gonna see what happens. I got my stop loss and all that set up. I don't put a take profit. Like I told you, if I'm right, I want to squeeze out a little bit more profit and see what happens. So I'm about to go hit the gym and I'm gonna update y'all. Oh, excuse me. I'm gonna update y'all later today. Just let's see what happens. Let the trade play out. Talk to y'all boys here in a minute. I closed out at break even. I didn't like the trade setup. I'm just trusting my gut. I don't like the trading setup. If I'm right, I'm right. Hey, I called it out, but I just don't like the trading setup. So give me a second. I'm about to pull up the charts and I'm about to explain to y'all why I don't like it, why I closed out my trade, and why I'm sticking by my gut and not chasing money like a lot of people do. We're not chasing money. We're chasing results based off of us chasing the plan. Right now, I don't see my plan, and I'm about to explain to you why. All right, so closed at break even. Y'all saw it already. We on here, we got my personal account, 239. Challenge account, we closed at 402. If I scroll up, you can see 402. I haven't, bro, both of these trades, we closed at break even. The previous two trades we've taken have been break even trades. The trades didn't make sense, so decided to close. We closed out on this one. Price ended up going against us anyway. Again, being correct about that decision. We closed out of this one, which we're about to break down why. So daily time frame, y'all know this trade is money. As simple as day. There's nothing more to say. This trade is absolutely money. If you don't know, there's 3 points to the market. I like to take my positions. It's either at my position 1, position 2, position 3. And if we mark it off, what do we have? We have our ceiling, we have the floor slash ceiling, and then we have our floor. And this all comes from the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, I get my overall trend and I get what point are we at in the market. Again, if I go towards the Discord, I have all this drawn out. So if you take a look, I have 5 setups bullish wise and I have 5 setups bearish wise. All of these setups, my entries come at the floor slash ceiling, floor slash ceiling. Try to say that fast. I'm tongue twister. Floor, ceiling. Again, 3 given points in the market. My ceiling, my floor that turns into my ceiling, or my floor. And then for my bullish example, we have the ceiling slash floor, ceiling slash floor, ceiling, as you can see, ceiling, and then floor. Now with knowing that, like, I give y'all this for a reason. It's not because it's made up. This is the only time I'm looking to enter the market. And these come from the daily time frame. The daily is going to show me where I'm at in the market. Once I'm able to identify that, now I use my 4 hour to see if I'm in sync with the daily. That 4 hour is not in sync with the daily, but I'm at my daily structure point, I'm at either my recent ceiling to floor, or my ceiling or my floor. Now I can take some type of counter trend setup based off of my 4 hour, my 1 hour being in sync. If we map this out, I only need 2 time frames to be in sync. So if my daily time frame is telling me bearish, my 4 hour time frame is telling me bullish, and my 1 hour time frame is telling me bullish, I'm trading my 4 hour and my 1 hour time frame. I wouldn't be trading the daily time frame. I will only be taking a trade from the daily structure point. Now, knowing why and how we take our trades, why did I want to exit out of this? Well, simply because of this. It's just simply because of this. I swear to you not, there's nothing more, there's nothing less. This is just ugly structure. And previous trades, once again, these are the Florida market trades. You see the 4 hour breaker structure is in sync with the daily structure. I didn't enter above my daily structure, but I got in below this daily structure. And once we performed the breakout on the 4 hour, we had no choppiness with this breaker structure. Same thing over here. The 4 hour in sync with the daily, and we had no choppiness in the market. If we go back towards our position as of today, choppiness in the market. Why would I enter the trade? We wouldn't. So why am I trying to enter this trade? It does not make sense. What do I see happening? Well, going back towards the daily time frame, on the daily time frame, I know, yes, this is clean market structure, but what can possibly take place? We could possibly see a bullish candle get formed, like so, getting back above my daily structure point. If we're above this floor slash ceiling, this is now a possible counter trend scenario where we look to now use this floor as the floor again, because price has recently got back above this point. I will look for price to pull back down on the lower time frames, because if the daily time frame closes with this bullish candle, my 4-hour time frame will possibly go and give me a break past this lower high structure. And this makes more sense to me, because if I'm being honest, right, this is ugly structure. And if I know this is ugly structure, I can see one out of two things. I can see this little hiccup if I wanted to mark it off like so, see price come down, retest this hiccup, and then have this push. Meaning, if price does not break through this level, and we're going to leave this marked off, price does not break through this level, we won't see price go this way. Price is going to continue down, right? But say if price gets to this level and we reject from this level, we can easily see price continue towards the upside, form this left head, right shoulder, breaking out of the neckline, and then we look for price to come back down to treat our floor slash ceiling as the floor once again, to continue this move towards the upside. I simply don't like my position because of this. It's ugly. It's ugly. The entry makes sense because we'll go towards the 15-minute. What do we have? We had the break of structure take place around here this morning. Once we seen this break of structure, we got the 30-minute bearish engulfing, which is what we wanted. I got to be strict in my plan. And this, it gives me breathing room, but it doesn't look good. This trade is horrible. It's a bad trade. We shouldn't enter. So I closed at break even. So like I said, we're going to leave this up. If price breaks through, okay, cool. You could have held, but I wasn't going to hold because I would have been not abiding by my rules. But say if price now hits our stop loss. I told you so.
This is my wife. Nappy head and all.
But I'm about to update y'all as far as that trade that we ended up closing out. I'm about to give y'all some updates, show y'all what happened, and let you know, were we right, were we wrong, should we have stayed in the trade, or did we make the right call by exiting out? So give me a couple minutes. I'm about to finish watching this episode of Live PD. It's actually hard. So I'm about to finish watching this episode, and then I'm gonna get back to y'all with the chart breakdown. So stay tuned for that. All right, y'all. So we can see. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. So clear as day, we see price hit that stop loss, like we broke down. In the previous clip, we talked about why this trade was just invalid. We see clear as day, price did use this zone. Yeah, we didn't tap back into fully, but we see that we got in the vicinity of this little minor structure area, treated it as that support, and then continued towards the upside, which is something we did not want to see. And that's why we closed out this position, due to this invalid structure. I'm happy we did. Sticking by those rules, sticking by that plan allowed me to see this invalid structure, and we saved ourselves from a loss. So yeah, sticking by those rules saved us from an L. I was risking around $2,000, so we would have lost around like $4,000 in total if we would have taken this position. I just thank the Lord. Y'all saw us in that clip just praying about it. He gave us that clarity. We acted on that clarity and not on emotions. Really just allowing the Holy Spirit to guide us to make the right decision. And based off of us doing that, we saved ourselves some capital. So we're still waiting. It's only Tuesday as of right now. Tomorrow, am I tripping? Today's Wednesday. So it's only Wednesday. We got tomorrow. If something develops, like y'all know, we end up taking a trade tomorrow night, and then having that trade lead us to tomorrow morning with possible opportunities. It happens a lot. If I do find a trade Thursdays, I end up taking it and possibly swinging it over the weekend. But I am looking for price to have this push, give us a break of these 4-hour highs, come back down, retest, and then have that continuation where we react and adapt. Looking for a price on the daily time frame to get above this area of support / resistance, treat this area as our support so we can possibly catch that trade towards the upside. So we're going to see what happens. I'm just really happy as far as not getting in this position. This position would have been bad. I would have actually got pissed off because I know I should have never entered, and I would have entered and I would have broke my rules, which would have pissed me off. But all right, I'm done talking here. I'm about to get back to that phone so we can finish our conversation. I would have been pissed, right? I would have been pissed because I know I wasn't supposed to follow that plan. And if I would have broken that rule by following that plan, I would have been pissed off. So I'm happy we didn't do that. So we're gonna see what happens for the rest of the week, see if we can capitalize, and if we can, like always, record it, bring out with the updates, and take you along with this journey of a $60 investment turned into a 5-figure payout. So let's see what happens. Let's continue this journey. And